For those of you who are not familiar with Byron Katie is a woman who at some point in her life, she went through some depressive episodes, really struggled with her mental health, and she actually found herself like living in a halfway house away from her family. And when she kind of just woke up from this fog, she had like this thought process, and she just at the time just thought was what came natural for her. She started to share what she had learned with other people. And so in her work, she's revered as a thought leader in just the ability to notice your own thoughts and how you show up in your relationships and the relationship between your thoughts about yourself, your thoughts about other people, and how your relationships act, like show up. One thing I love about the work is that all these things that we learn as we do self development and just learning about ourselves, they're actually very universal beliefs. And I will use the term universal belief in another context here in a little bit, but universal beliefs in terms of, like, for example, the idea that the results in your life begin with a single thought. I mean, that has been, it's in the Bible, it's in religious texts, it's, centuries and centuries of information. And sometimes I think we present this as if it's like a new discovery, and it's always been there. It's just that people are beginning to pay more attention to it and notice it more. So, I'm going to introduce you a little bit to one of the ideas that Byron Katie shares, and it's an exercise called the 4 questions. And so what you do with the 4 questions is that you have to like be still and relax, and I like to do it with pen and paper. You travel in your mind to a specific situation where you were angry, hurt, sad, or disappointed with somebody. And you just observe that situation. It's literally like you're just watching the movie of the situation. So you take yourself to that present moment. You notice, name, and feel the emotion you were experiencing at the time. And doing so helps you actually establish the reason why you were upset or angry or just like triggered by that situation. Then you take that exact situation and you ask yourself the 4 questions. I'm going to give you just like an example, something that like I have experienced in my own life or people share with me. And that would be like you have a conversation with your spouse. And so maybe your spouse says, you always leave the dishes in the sink, or you say that to your spouse, or you never listen to me, you never pay attention, or you're always distracted. That's like an example. So let's say in this example, you had like a heated conversation with your partner or spouse, and it made you really angry. And so when you witness that situation, and maybe they said, you never do something, and you're like, he doesn't care about me. And that's like what you decided is why you were upset, because you're like, he doesn't care about me. He doesn't listen to me. So in beginning the 4 questions, the first question you ask yourself is it true? And so in this, we're going to use the example, he doesn't respect me, or he's not polite. So just say he doesn't respect me. Then you ask yourself, can you absolutely know that it's true? And then whatever the answer is, you go on to the next question. Let's say you can absolutely know that your spouse doesn't respect you. You have evidence for it. How do you react? And what happens when you believe the thought that has caused that emotion? In this example, how do you react, or what happens when you believe the thought that your partner doesn't respect you? In that question, there's 3 things that you think about. The first thing is, what emotions arise when you believe that thought? So if you steadfastly believe that your spouse and partner doesn't respect you, what emotions come up? And then the second thing you think about is, what images of past and future do you see when you believe the thought? Now, the third question is even another notch up is how do you treat yourself and others when you believe the thought? So when you believe the thought that your partner doesn't respect you or your partner is treating you a certain way, how do you treat yourself when you feel that you're not being respected? And how do you treat others when you believe the thought that your partner doesn't respect you? Then number 4, which I think is such a crucial turning point, is who or what would you be without the thought? Who or what would you be without that thought that your partner doesn't respect you? And what that helps you kind of engage with yourself is what if you didn't believe that your partner didn't respect you? What if you believed that you get to decide that you respect yourself and everybody else's experience of showing up is kind of irrelevant to how you show up. So you will be a good person no matter what. You will respect others no matter what. You will show up as your highest self no matter what. One of the things Byron Katie teaches is how to now take like that idea and turn it around, and she calls it the turnaround question. So in the example that I'm using, when you say he doesn't respect me, then one of the things you have to do in the exercise is turn that thought around. So there's like possible opposites. So like he doesn't respect me, you can turn it around to I don't respect me, I don't respect him, he respects me. So you have to contemplate how each turnaround is true or truer in that situation. So I'll give you another example that Byron Katie shares. And it's like, he hurt me. And so when you do the turnaround, possible opposites are I hurt me, I hurt him, he didn't hurt me, or he helped me. And then you contemplate each and every one of those thoughts to really understand how you can impact how you show up. So one of the things that this exercise has really helped me and has also been so incredible for my coaching clients is when people come up with a situation and then they add their thoughts to the situation. So an example is my mother-in-law is crazy. And my mother-in-law is not crazy. I'm just going to say that. My mother-in-law is amazing and I love her so much. But let's just say my mother-in-law is crazy is the example. So what I will ask my clients is like, who would you be without the thought that your mother-in-law is crazy? Because if you were willing to look at her with the lens without judging her ahead of time, because like a lot of the time somebody will say, my mother-in-law is crazy and she's so judgmental. And I have to be like, in a loving manner, say, but you're being judgmental, right? When you have put this caption on her as being crazy. And a lot of the time, like, you know, we have the quote unquote evidence in our heads that this is the evidence that she's crazy. But is it always true? And can you absolutely know that it's true? And then you take that situation and you turn around and you ask yourself 100%, who would I be without the thought that this person is crazy? How would I show up differently in our relationship? How would I show up differently in a relationship if I had less judgment? And one of the best things that I offer myself and my coaching clients is, can you be curious and compassionate? Because when you practice from a place of compassion and curiosity, you then take what they're saying and you don't attach like deep meaning, and you really stay curious and you really want to understand them and why are they thinking the way they're thinking and what got them to that conclusion. And then you can really put yourself in their shoes and practice empathy for them and really just encapsulate in the whole relationship how you're showing up and how maybe you can show up differently in that relationship without those judgments. I'm Shiro Bergbauer, and you're listening to an excerpt from the Stethoscopes to Swaddles podcast. You can listen to the whole episode wherever you get your podcasts, and look out for new episodes out every Monday. You're doing a great job, Mama. I'll see you next week. Bye now.